I'm going to talk with you guys about kind of how I made the decision. When I first started my business, I was definitely just kind of looking for that 50% discount. I love Mary Kay products, but I never really wanted to pay full price for them. So yeah, I really just liked the products. And then as I was just kind of working my business like the first 2 years, I think just attending the events and feeling like I was in the same place every year was kind of getting in my head a little bit of I like growing personally and I like to challenge myself. So showing up to like seminar and conferences and things like that and always just kind of being at that same level, I'm like itching to get more, itching to do something else. Maybe it was a little bit of FOMO, the jackets are really cute. But then that that little inkling kind of became more too. Started thinking more about like potential for like a leadership position, a lot of just personal growth, the additional income. Like the more I hear other people's stories, the more inspired I got to grow my business too and to grow more as a person. And I'm like, it looks like everybody else grows and becomes this amazing person. I'm like, I want to do that too. That seems pretty cool. So once I kind of had those thoughts, I big scary CEO of your business, me, called a meeting with the number one employee of my business, myself, and we sat down and we had a real serious performance review. If I have these goals, are my actions really reflecting on what it takes to achieve those goals? So I started asking myself some hard questions like, um, am I really doing the things or am I just thinking about the things? What's holding me back? What are my fears? What are my excuses or like reasons to not do those things? Like, got to be really honest about those things. Um, and like what kind of thoughts am I feeding myself too? It's kind of like I heard that phrase once. If everything you say comes true, what would you stop saying and what would you say more of? So I actually had a jar on my desk for a while with little slips of paper, and anytime I had like, I'm too tired to do this or this is overwhelming, I would write that thought out of my head and throw it in that jar so I wouldn't have that thought anymore. So you can try that. And then I started thinking, like, what am I doing this for? Like personal growth, the income, like those are kind of like the flashy things, like at first. But then I started thinking about my future family and my future me, and really just had this clear vision of what I really think my Mary Kay business could benefit that future life for my husband and I. So that kind of became like my internal fire to really grow my business, do more with it, and get to work. So once came out of the performance review with the CEO, thinking, all right, it's time to get to work. There's definitely some mental hurdles that you gotta challenge or like conquer first. So some of those things are like my job is so demanding. I work a full time job, salary, so you kind of just go to work and leave when the work is done. It's not like a clock in, clock out type deal. I do go into work. I don't work at home. Um, I'm also like not a morning person. I'd always say that I hate mornings, but the truth behind that like mental hurdle of time was really I wasn't managing my time well. I wasn't making time in my schedule for the things that I wanted to do to get out of my business what I wanted out of my business. So to conquer that, I picked like 2 to 3 days a week where I would purposely wake up an hour earlier before I go to work so that I can work my business. I use things like Project Broadcast to schedule like campaigns and messages to go out throughout the day so I can really focus on just my responses as the day went on and not trying to think of, oh God, what am I going to say to her first? I just kind of picture that in the morning, get that all set up so that I can just kind of sprinkle my business in throughout the day. That really helped manage my time a lot more. I always made a list of like my 6 most important things at night before I went to bed so that when I woke up in the morning, and I'm like half asleep because I hate mornings, but now I like mornings because I'm saying that now. I always have that clear list of exactly what I'm going to tackle and accomplish that day or in that time. So I wasn't taking the first 10, 15 minutes figuring out what am I going to do in this hour of time that I just made myself get up for. Um, Another mental hurdle was I always get so distracted as soon as I walk in the door. The dog needs to be fed and go for a walk. I got to start making dinner. There's still dishes in the sink. You got to wash it. As soon as I came home from work, it was just, now I'm home and I'm doing home things. So I decided that pattern needs to be interrupted. And what I did was I actually turned my car into the rolling office, I would call it. So I before I left the parking lot at work, so I would leave work, I'd go sit in my car, and I actually have this little folder with me. So I have my script right on the back side of it, of like for like bridal leads or certain leads. So I would actually get all of my slips with me and bring them into my car, climb my chair back so I have more room. Because when I drive, I'm like up to the steering wheel. Um, so I'd make myself some more room, and I'd have my planner out, my phone plugged in, and my script thing right next to me, and I'd have exactly who I'm going to call. So I would take a good like half hour just in my car calling people before I even get home. So all those phone calls are made, and then while I'm making dinner, I can confirm or continue conversations or anything like that. So yeah, the rolling office works really well. Um, and I would also do it before I would drive home because, crazy drivers in the city, you don't want to be angry when you call your leads. Um, my job makes me so tired. I'm always so tired. At the end of the day, you're just drained or exhausted. And then it kind of dawned on me that job is exhausting, but my Mary Kay business energizes me. So when I go out and do honoring working women, I could be so stinking tired leading up there, but then you walk in with your little bag of roses and you see that first smile and you're just like, oh, I could do this. Like just seeing that first smile of like someone's like, a rose for me? Oh my gosh. It's kind of like, yeah, it's for you. Now I'm awake. So getting it past that mental gymnastic of, I'm tired, I don't have the energy to do this. Well, your business should energize you. So even if you are tired, just get over that first step of doing it. Just kind of sleepily get in that first step, and then you're like, I got this. Um, yeah, so then I just realized, I could do that a lot more. So I've been doing that, honoring working women at least twice a week. So I'd kind of pick when am I rolling office, when am I meeting some women before I come home. Because yeah, as soon as I get home, my dog's like, "Pork?" So I'm like, "No, not yet." Um, like those like mental hurdles, those mental gymnastics was kind of like the first step. But then it's kind of time to like actually do the work, and what tools kind of help me get there. Well, like doing the things consistently is like a big thing. So you can have these thoughts of like, yes, I'm going to have more time to do this, or I'm going to have more energy to do this. But then like, what are you actually doing in that time? What am I doing in that hour in the morning? What am I doing when I honor working women? All those types of things. So I have a couple of different like tools I was going to walk through that I've used or done more consistently to really start seeing like the growth that I found in this past year. So the first thing that I like really helped me, it's in your books too. It's like an IPA tracking sheet, but you can look at it later too. But this is what mine looks like. So I have this printed out. I've been doing this consistently since January. So January of this year, I actually printed out 12 of these, so I wouldn't have the excuse of, well, I forgot to print it out this month, so I'm not going to use it. So just print out your first 12 and you have them set up for the year. And on this IPA sheet up here is like a list of different activities. So these are all, IPA stands for income producing activities. So when I made that decision and got through those mental hurdles, then I was kind of like, now what? What am I actually going to start doing? Like, what are the things that you need to do? So I looked up here and I'm like, oh, Canva images are not on here. Cleaning my office is not on here. Shopping at Target for cute office things. But, holding a party, have $100 sales day, doing a face, getting a new team member, getting 2 new bookings. Those are the types of activities that really helped guide like what I needed to start doing to start growing in my business. And then I get to track them. I got real competitive with these bubbles, man. I'm like, I want to fill out these bubbles. So I was always looking up here, and that really helped guide like my priority list of what I wanted to do. So when I first started using this, I definitely just started tracking what I was currently doing. Because I'm like, I don't know. They give you ranges of like how many you should be doing, depending on what your goal is. Like, I don't know, I'm just gonna get started. So I definitely just started recording what I was currently doing. And then I realized, well, I'm not filling out a lot of these bubbles. What I'm doing is out in this little chart here. So that really helped guide what my activities were. Um, and then, I mean, just like tracking everything in general. I keep this little folder like with me all the time. So I have my IPA tracking. And this one's like my monthly tracking for like bookings. So then you can kind of keep track of like, did you confirm them, profile them, all that kind of stuff. So actually writing it all out, it's again, it's like a competition. You like fill up all those lines, and it's just rewarding to have that down. Um, there's the perfect tracking for like your whole month, and this is all on Emily's website too. You can download this later. And yeah, like money management kind of stuff too. So yeah, just like tracking all of your things. Kate has always been the one to tell me this, but a tracked number is a growing number. And as soon as I started tracking things started growing. And it really surprised me because I don't know why I didn't believe you at first, but should have. um, so yeah, that was a really big change, a big shift in my business was those mental hurdles and then actually tracking it and then watching that growth happen and this guiding that activity. And then yeah, 6 most important things, kind of like I said before, I write that out at night. Actually, Target had okay, I did shop at Target once. Um, there's a little dry erase board with like these 6 squares on it, and I'm like, perfect, 6 most important things. Like this is great. So I actually have that hanging on my wall, and every night I like clean off the board and I write out what my 6 most important things are, and I reuse that every night to really help guide and better manage my time and what I want to do because I no longer don't have time. You got to make the time for it. Um, Lead generating. That was a huge thing. I always thought I was lead generating enough until I really started tracking what my volume was of leads coming in. And yeah, that tracked number grew as soon as I realized I was not hitting the numbers of leads that I needed. Um, and I gotta say, having little mini competitions with your friends in Mary Kay, that's always fun. Um, so yeah, I mean, find what works for you. There's so many different ways that you can go out and lead generate, whether it's like lead boxes, restaurant events, honoring working women. Try them all out, see what works best for you, lean into those strengths, and just have fun with it. I love honoring working women. It's like I love making that connection with people like instantly when I meet them, and just like making their days. Like I don't know, those are things that just like fill me up and re-energize me to keep doing it. Um, and I've set a goal to get 50 new leads minimum a week with honoring working women. So whether that's 2 outings where I don't come home until I get 25, or if I got to break that up a little bit more, or sometimes I'm more restricted on time. So if I only have 30 minutes, well, how many 30-minute intervals do I have to go out to get that 50 for the week? So things like that, having like those numerical goals really help drive to like make sure I was on track to reach those goals. Actually, I think I have another tracking sheet for that. Maybe that's in here. I don't know. It's more bubbles at home. I like bubbles. Another big thing, Emily's contests. She always has contests or like challenges for us between meetings or monthly things. I always go all into those little challenges that she gives you. And those are really good ways to like test your boundaries and really like push yourself to do something that you didn't think you could do, like getting 250 leads in 1 month. That was insane. I didn't think I could do that, and then I did, which is like, whoa. So now I know what my limit is, or now I know I can push what I thought I could do. And every time I do a different contest that Emily challenges us with and everything, I always take a little nugget out of that. So having like that 250 for the month, that's what kind of drove me to like, okay, I could do 50 a week. Like I could do that consistently, or maybe I need to up that a little bit more. So just taking little nuggets out of all those challenges really helped me grow this whole year. Like none of these all happened overnight. This is, like I said, since January. This is October, almost end of October. A lot of small growth. Um, Booking is a big part of our business, right? You need a full date book, otherwise you're out of business, is what I kind of say. So finding the time to call was really challenging for me, and that was another like I don't have time to call, so I would always text when I wanted better results. So I learned how to do voice drops in Project Broadcast. So just like improving those systems and what works best for you and how to still accomplish those things, but in a different way. So it's no longer a I don't have time to call or book. It's okay, I've got time to set up this campaign. Now I can reuse this campaign and become much more efficient and do that more consistent. Excuse me. I do that more consistently. And I will say systems. As soon as you think you got one figured out, you grow a little, you start to do a little more in your business, and then you outgrow that system. That's okay. That's good. Now you just redo that system, and now you're even better than you were before. Definitely was overwhelmed a little bit by that at first when you think you got it all figured out. No, none of us do. And that's okay. Um, I actually got used to this phrase, sloppy success beats perfect failure. Yeah, sloppy success beats perfect failure. I was definitely someone obsessing over doing things perfectly and not making them like mistakes of like tripping over my words or um, writing something out wrong or I don't know, my office being messy. But honestly, once I decided like to be comfortable in the mess, but there's growth in there, that's good. You'll figure the rest out later. And then perfect track contest. I know this is a lot for new consultants, but you'll get there. Perfect share contests are just a really easy way to like set like a numerical clear goal every month. It really helps me work full circle because you have to have the sales, um, the like career surveys, as well as oh my gosh, now I'm blanking. Bases, thank you. So it really helped me like go full circle in my business and not just like I said in seminar, like row one or more than the other. You row them both. Um, so yeah, doing a 300 a week in sales is what really helped me stay on that perfect track contest and also achieve like star consultant. So I will say my first 2 years of my business, I was only star consultant once, one quarter, my first 2 years of my business. I have now consistently been a star for the last 3 quarters. That always seemed like a really daunting number of like, there's no way I could be a star. Oh my gosh. But breaking that down into a smaller, achievable, bite-sized thing, like hitting 300 a week consistently, or if you're under 1 week, go over the next, kind of make up for it. And that's how you just kind of be on track for like that type of growth. So yeah, just having a lot of those long-term goals, breaking it down into smaller pieces is what's helping me build what I need to do consistently every single day, every single week, every single month. So yeah, my clear vision of like what I want out of my business is really what's driving all these actions, especially when we're like a couple months in between, big fun things where all this social energy and everything. It gets hard, in between when you just kind of like doing your own daily grind. It's not easy. You gotta dig deep and figure out like what motivates you, like what's gonna keep you going. And I mean that hasn't always been easy for me. But seeing this past growth in this year gives me a lot of hope, and I really hope that it's inspiring for everyone else because, yeah, definitely did not, see this when I first signed up, right? I don't know what I was signing up for. Um, but a big push for me personally is that my husband and I are trying to start a family. And, we have some challenges there with fertility. So we're going through some treatments and things like that. And there's a lot of doctor's appointments, which brings me back to time management. Um, but honestly, it's like I've realized this over this past year. There's always going to be something in life. There's always something going on. There's never like a right time or a perfect time to do something. It's kind of like you want to break up with your boyfriend. There's never a right time to do it. You just got to do it. I'm not saying break up, but like, so thinking about that, it just made me realize you just gotta make the time to do what you wanna do, and you have to do it simultaneously and make it work in conjunction with your life. I work full time as a project manager in, like, a print company, like, that's got nothing to do with beauty and cosmetics, but the commonalities that I've seen both between it is project management is, like, time management, people management, all that sort of thing, and then, like, having a leadership, I manage people's workload at work, but I have, like, a positive team to kind of influence and make sure that they're staying on track. And I see that similarity and that parallel with my Mary Kay business. So even though they tangibly have like nothing in common with each other, you kind of find those differences and you find a way to balance and let them influence each other. And then that's how I found that really good balance between working a full-time job and still growing in my Mary Kay business too. Um, so that brings me to a little challenge for you ladies here. So my personal journey is, just something that I dug deep and found for myself. But what I want to challenge all of you here is to call up the CEO of your business, you, and you're going to schedule a time with your top performing employee, yourself, And you're going to ask yourself some questions. So I think we all have our little notebooks out here. So my first question, it kind of helps like reconnect you with your why. So I want you to kind of write down these questions, and if you have time, give it some thought right now, or just as the weekend goes on. And even if you kind of answer it vaguely now, but then truthfully later, totally do that. So this first question is just, why did I start my Mary Kay business? And does that why still feel true? Why did I start my Mary Kay business? And does that why still feel true? You can come back and answer it later, but the next question is going to be more dry for like your mindset. So what are my three biggest limiting beliefs? And what is my first step in overcoming them? So what are my three biggest limiting beliefs? And what is my first step in overcoming them? I'm specifically saying first step because really overcoming them is multiple steps. So just think, what's the first small thing you can accomplish to overcome that? All right, the next one's going to be about goal setting. Um, what will you accomplish each month before the end of this year? What will you accomplish each month before the end of this year? And that's kind of something I heard actually on the radio. October, November, December are like the ramp up months into your new year. So it takes about 3 months to generate a new habit. So if you start something now, it'll become a habit starting January instead of being like the New Year's resolution or where you start in January. Yep. What will you accomplish each month before the end of this year? Hmm. Two more. This one's more about doing the work. So what do you need to do more of that you're not currently doing? Like for real. What do you need to do more of that you're not currently doing? This one's more fun. So dig deep and celebrate. So this should be fun. Treat yourself with the improvements and the milestones in your business. So like what motivates you? I'm kind of like a dog where I'm like food motivated. I love Starbucks, ice cream. So I like treat myself. So like, what motivates you and how can you celebrate your wins? The numbers. Tracking my numbers. I felt when I would start to fall back, because I mean my growth has not been like, ooh, it's kind of like a um, so yeah, just like seeing the numbers. I mean, like not having enough in sales or not getting enough bookings or something like that is like, well, then I was thinking, okay, well, did I go out and get enough leads? Did I go out and do enough of this? Did I do this? And those types of actions, I'm realizing, okay, I was slacking a little bit there. I was going back into my old ways, but I want more for my business. I want to do more and I got to hit these numbers. It's a non-negotiable for me. And just finding ways on how to just like work it in with every day. Um, and I don't know, having like a real honest conversation with my husband about it too. So getting him to buy in and be on board, and he asks more questions about it too. And we celebrate the wins together, making it more of like a fun thing. He also stickers my product now. Yeah, I hired him. Yeah. So so just having that clear vision of like where I want to go, what I want to do, and then also I kind of think about my team members too. Like I want to keep being the leader for them. Hmm.